I grew up in a seriously haunted house, so it takes a lot for something paranormal to really scare me. I've seen things, heard things, you name it. Startle me? Sure. Scare me? Nah. Here's the only time I've actually been scared. I lived in an apartment complex about 11 years ago, and other than some terrifyingly large wolf spiders, I never heard or saw anything paranormal. Then the old dude who lived across from me had a party one weekend and his brother died. Alcohol poisoning. His body laid there for over 12 hours because everyone thought he was just sleeping it off. After he passed, I would occasionally hear some odd sounds, but nothing major. Then, one night, I was laying in bed with my toddler, waiting for her to go to sleep, and something blocked the light that had been shining into the room from the bathroom. I whipped my head up off the pillow and looked toward the door, and there was a black mass that was loosely in the shape of a person in the doorway. My whole body started tingling, and I squeezed my eyes shut for a moment because I was terrified and unsure if it was a real person who had broken in or something paranormal. I popped my eyes back open, and it was gone, so I hopped up out of bed and grabbed my shotgun and a couple of shells and took off after it. The only door into the apartment still had both locks locked and the chain was still in place. The windows were closed and locked. I checked under every bed and inside all the closets and didn't find anything. I heard noises again after that, but never saw anything again. I moved a couple months later when my lease was up. Number 2. It was about 4 years ago. It wasn't the first paranormal occurrence to happen, just the one that scared me the most. One night, my 2.5-year-old son woke my husband and I up when he crawled into our bed. I couldn't fall back asleep, so I decided to work on a project in my craft room. I was in there for about 45 minutes when the small monitor to the nanny cam started rapidly flickering on and off. Mind you, these were not motion-censored cams, only continuous feed. The cams are in the living room and our son's room. I went over to the monitor and picked it up. It all of a sudden made this loud, ear-piercing sound like a mic feedback. It startled me, and I dropped the monitor face down. I noticed the glow around the edges had stopped flickering. I picked up the monitor and turned to look at the screen. I saw my son standing as still as a statue in the middle of the living room, staring at a wall. I started for the door with the monitor still in my hand. When I glanced down again, my son's head turned, only the head, and his eyes went directly to the camera in the upper corner of the room. He had no expression on his face at all. I left the room and went through the small kitchen and dining room, rounded the corner to the living room, and it was empty. The door to our bedrooms was on the other side. I went in there, and my son was sound asleep, in the same position he was in when I left. My husband looked up from his e-reader. I asked him if he had woken up and went to the living room, and he just told me no. I asked if my husband had gotten up to the bathroom or kitchen, thinking maybe he just didn't see our son try and follow him. But my husband swears that he hasn't left the bed at all, and our son has been peacefully snoring away the whole time. Like I said before, this wasn't the first time we've seen doppelgangers, but it was always so brief that you didn't really have time to get scared or have it completely register yet. This was different. It wasn't just a glimpse. Above all, it was the look on my son's face, that empty void stare when he turned his head to face the camera. Still, even now typing, it gives me the chills. Number 3. I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I slept in a bedroom with my 2 little brothers. One night, I woke up to go to the bathroom, but couldn't find the door handle. I ran my arms all along the door, and nothing. I thought, no big deal, it's dark, I'll just turn on the lights and be good to go. There was a bookshelf in front of the light switch, so you had to stick your hand behind it to turn on the lights. To my surprise, I couldn't even find the light switch. The same thing. I ran my arm all along the wall trying to find it. At this point, I'm not scared, I'm just confused. So I tried to wake up one of my brothers to help me out, but he was too asleep to be bothered. I shook him hard and nothing. I went to my other brother, and same thing. He wouldn't budge. Feeling a little panicked, I tried to find the door or light switch again, but couldn't. I pressed my entire body against the door and went up and down. Now I believe something is wrong. Maybe the door handle fell off? So I searched on the ground, but there was nothing. I figured I would look outside, but it was nothing but a wall of blackness. We lived in front of my school, so I could usually see lights from the building, but I couldn't see anything. I don't know why, but this scared the crap out of me. Now to the point that I'm yelling at my brothers trying to wake them up. They still wouldn't budge. They sleepily acknowledged my presence, but never woke up. I started screaming bloody murder. I started banging on the door. It felt like forever that I was pounding on that door and screaming. Then my mom rushed into our bedroom, turned on the lights, and grabbed me into a hug. I was petrified and crying. I told her that the doorknob had fallen off and I couldn't find the lights. Thing is, the door handle was still on. I've come to rationalize it as being tired or disoriented. That being said, it's always stuck with me how black it was outside. I could see the lights of the school building usually. Multiple times I ran my entire body across the door looking for the handle. I even did it with the lights on, recreating the motions. And I could always feel the doorknob and the lights. I never slept in that room after that. I would always sleep on the floor of our living room. I really like my voice today.